Thanks, Lanny. If I could start by Lanny, could you get this started? If you could move that on for me. Get the funders up here, please, to come up to the platform. Julia Koch, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. We've also got J. William Kim, Che Voigt, and Dominic Fopoli, if memory serves me correctly. Dominic? I know he's around here somewhere. Now, the good news is with introducing the other panellists, I don't really need to because you've already seen them and heard from them previously. The only panellist you haven't is Dominic Fopoli. Now, Dominic, as the president of Christopher Creek Wines, is the first one. Is how I got to know him. But because he hasn't had a chance to speak so far, I'd just like to introduce him as almost California's sexiest man.
Wow.
As indicated, Steve Harvey almost had him as California's sexiest man back in 2015, and I'd just like to say that he looks even sexier today than he did back then. So Dominic, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. So it's important to find all the important information about your panellists, but here in his role as a potential funder for these pitches is certainly what we and the two presenters are more interested in today. So we've got two pitches for you. We've got two ideas. We've got two budding entrepreneurs who are looking for funding. They are going to take about 5 minutes, or they'll get notified at 5 minutes that it's time to wind up their time. And then our panel of funders have the opportunity, if they wish to ask questions to get further information for them, to decide if they are going to, now if I recall this correctly from what Che was saying earlier, invite them for a cup of coffee. To discuss the potential funding of their arrangement at a subsequent idea. So the opportunity is there for the funders to pitch, get the interaction from their panel, and if everything goes well for them, they'll have with some luck a funding opportunity from the panel afterwards. So Felicia, if I could introduce Felicia Prater. Felicia is going to talk to us about the urban taste. The urban taste is her solution to the alienation felt on a daily basis by wine consumers, and how she has discovered, or is going to pitch to us a way that she's discovered that she will reduce that alienation and encourage more people to get into wine. So Felicia, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here to present. I won't keep you long because I don't want to be the person that stands between you and your wine. As Damien said, I am the founder and chief wino of the Urban Taste. We are a wine education, event, and consulting company who strives to introduce and encourage minority consumers to get involved in the culture and experiences of wine. I started the company about 5 years ago and had some great success, and one of the key things that kept coming up was that consumers were afraid to try different wines. They wanted to, but they lacked education. They lacked knowledge about what they should buy. They were fearful about wasting their money buying wines that they may not like. So I said, okay, how can we take the fear out of a passion of mine and get people to try wine, love it, etc. So I almost forgot about this. Oh, thank you. What we're doing right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sonoma County. I'm Leslie Sobraco, and I'm so sorry I can't be with you today, but I'm actually en route to New York, facing wineries and wine producers that...
All right, all right. I had a slide. I'll let him figure it out. So I came up with this wine app idea called Split Vino, and it is a shared expense wine tasting mobile app. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So we talked about the Urban Taste, our big initiative being diversity in wine, and it leads us to Split Vino. So what is Split Vino and how does it work? So this is a little bit of a chart about the process flow. Pretty much as a wine drinker, you're at home, you're like, oh, I want to try, let's say, La Crema, it's $20. I've heard great things about it. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. What do? You pull up Split Vino. Based on your geographic location, it will pull up retailers that will partner with us within the app where they have La Crema in their inventory. You will create an event. You will invite your friends, and the event will populate an event invite through Facebook, Instagram, etc. It can be public or private, where you will invite it can be friends or other users of the app that sign up to be notified of events in the area to come out and join you to try this bottle of wine, and you split the cost of the bottle. And so that makes for a fun, what I'm calling, situation. And these are just some different values and, the kind of pros of why this app is needed. So we think it's viable because it's nothing out there like it. We find that people want to try new things, but not have much of the risk involved, and we think that this app will take kind of that barrier away. But we also want to develop kind of the next generation of wine enthusiasts while also staying true to our core, which is wine education. So the most important slide, revenue generation. How does Split Vino make money? The most basic and fundamental way is app download fees. Between apps like the Vino, Delectable, they've charged anywhere between 99 cents to $4.99 for download. And then there's also an opportunity to do in-app purchases. Retailer access fees. I mentioned potential partners. That can be Kroger, that can be Safeway, it can be Oliver's, it can be a bar, it can be a restaurant. They will pay a fee to have their locations pop up in the app as well as their inventory so that people can host these events in their stores. Advertising dollars is clear cut. We hope to have, different brands, Gallo, TWE, Treasury, Vincent's, any type of brand that wants to advertise or has a stake in potentially benefiting from the app to advertise in-app. And then database access. The app will be collecting tons of valuable data that we hope to kind of capitalize on and sell that to third-party entities. So the ask is $750K, and pretty much what that will do is give us a minimum viable product to bring the app to market on a local level. I'm based out of Cincinnati right now, but I am willing to go wherever the opportunity presents itself that would be more beneficial. So $750,000 would bring us a beta version of the app, as well as partner with an app development team, which we have identified a couple of entities out of Chicago and Florida, but I'm also open to exploring other app developers here in the area. And it'll cover some administrative costs and expenses for the first 1 to 2 years. So, would you like to share a bottle with me in Split Vino? Thank you.
Okay, $750,000 for a piece of Venus magic. So let's see to the sharks. Who wants to ask some questions to Felicia about the idea? Julia.
You mentioned that you started about 5 years ago. Is that correct?
Not the app, just kind of my parent company, the Urban Taste. So I've just spent the past 5 years doing my in-home tastings, wine education, corporate events, kind of gauging the market, gathering consumer demographics, etc. And for the past year, I've been working on this concept.
And what kind of a revenue amount do you have so far? What's your revenue?
For the app or for the Urban Taste?
Urban Taste.
So right now, between in-home tastings, t-shirt sales, etc., wine glass sales, we're pulling in about 45 to 55K a year. It's a small business. Took 2 years off to do my executive MBA program.
Thank you.
Sharks, what questions or what thoughts have you got that are restricting it? Dominic, you have 4 wine businesses, or a councilman, and also a brewery. So I think you know a bit about this field, I believe.
Yeah. So I guess my techie question is, what's your plan for user acquisition? And the wine side of it is coming from the ultra premium direct to consumer sector. For a business like mine, having direct access to new customer bases to be able to present to them in a party-like home setting would be tremendously valuable. have you looked at or what's your plan for going after direct-to-consumer wineries that would be able to partner with?
I think the same concept of the app, how we do retailers applies to kind of DTC. We talked about some different kind of when we talk about scaling up, what are some other ways that we can, kind of bring this to market. So it's not just wine, it can be spirits. We talked about kind of making like the Airbnb of wine model where we would invite users to potentially be hosts and do some of these things in their homes. But DTC, wineries, it will work the same way. Like, if you want to be a part of this app, you would pay the access retailer fee, and we would work with you to create, these kind of local experiences. I've had some conversations with Adrian with Wine Route where we talked about kind of some of the things that they're doing and bring in these like buying box, so to speak, to retailers or pickup locations, working directly with them to get these wines from these wineries into consumers' homes. So there's tons of conversation and various ideas that we talked about, but because we're just in the early stages, we're just super open, but it's possible.
Jay, you look prepared.
I have a question. So you already have what effectively is a small business, almost in a brick and mortar style. So you're already co-located, and you've been doing this for a while. Clearly, we know that this is very valuable to several different areas of the wine industry, right? Access to the DTC market. For everyone to understand, the DTC market is the only thing that keeps the small wineries alive. Small premium wineries die under the 3-tier program, right? So hugely valuable, and you have the customers. I feel like that your app idea is really ahead of the. You need to build the model, because most people who try to do the apps don't have what you have already. So you have people that will probably be willing to fund some level of this, prove the model, and then scale the model through the app. Instead, it feels like you're trying to build an app for a model that you don't have scaled. It's going to be very expensive and difficult. You could probably cut to the chase here and build up value in the company through Facebook groups or those kinds of local things, even your mailing list that I'm sure you have developed over the time. So I think this whole idea needs to be thought through. At the end of the day, if you're going to do an app, it's your customer acquisition cost divided by your LTV that you need to understand. If that number works for you, then scale the heck out of it with an app. If it doesn't work for you, you're just going to die.
And Felicia, to close.
Thank you very much for that feedback. I appreciate it. I'll definitely look into that and take into account what the both of you have said. And again, I just appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Wait, so are we supposed to comment about the coffee?
Sorry, I was the last comment of the panel who's sitting here. Who would invite Felicia for a coffee to help her work through the idea, to look at ways that she could raise funds for her idea?
I wouldn't do coffee, but I do wine.
Wine? Okay.
Come up to the winery.
Okay.
And I'm just the last comment. Che is completely right. Is if that was if you started the other way and were able to prove it through your meetup groups as a something that premium wineries, if Mr. Chavez back there could have access to customers in Southern California that he wouldn't otherwise, and get in front of them or have a representative get in front of them, he would absolutely love to pay for that, and so would I. So being able to prove it the other way, it would be huge, and I would be happy to help fund.
Yeah, and one more thing to add. As is, it's a very copyable business, and if you really go reverse, then you might really have something on hand which will deter others to come in. So that idea would really help as well.
Well, thank you, Felicia, and thank you, panel. Now, if we could hand over to, we're going to move over to the second pitch by Alex Mountjoy. And as Lanny has kindly introduced already, Alex has got an idea. Well, he's got more than an idea. He's got a plan. He's got cannabis-infused sparkling water. Now, the idea to me, I was thinking only in California, but of course, this is the sort of thing that could happen anywhere, and has become more and more popular in other states. And as it's becoming more popular, as not only for medical or recreational reasons, as a premium beverage. I think Alex's idea in coming up with this product is certainly inspiring. I'd just like to hear more from him on it. So, Alex, would you be kind enough to take it away and introduce us to your plan for the expansion of Mountjoy Sparkling? Okay. I was going to say, just to remind us, samples are not to be consumed on the premises at this point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't need notes to talk, I need notes not to talk. Where's the next slide? Right. Hi, I'm Alex Mountjoy, and I like wine, but I don't like a hangover, so I invented this product. Mountjoy Sparkling is the leading cannabis-infused sparkling water and the first of its kind. 0 calorie, 0 carbs. The result, a truly guilt-free beverage. Fast acting. The result, no worrying, no stress, no waiting. Sociable and productive. This is not an escape product. This is an engage product. You're addressing, you're mastering, you're contributing, you're growing. Mountjoy Sparkling is portable, sociable, discreet, and normal. It's a product that fits your life. This is bigger than the dot-com boom. Cannabis is doing this. Within cannabis, edibles is doing this. Within edibles, beverages is doing this. What this means is that the total addressable for market for Mountjoy Sparkling is a curve like this that we expect to be $2.6 billion by 2021. Who knows someone who's had too much of an edible? It's not fun. Mountjoy solves this problem. The California standard dose is 10 milligrams. It's the rough equivalent of an alcoholic drink. It makes sense. Our competitors are all overdosed by 3 times, 4 times, 5, even 6 times the standard dose. That's the equivalent of 6 glasses of wine in a single bottle of one of our competitors' products. These are generally sugary sweet sodas, higher priced than Mountjoy Sparkling, and overdosed to the point where one sip could be too much. Great. So we're just going to go. In 2018, Mountjoy Sparkling is the only one that's going to be legal, actually. If California follows the lead of Colorado and Oregon, any beverage over 10 milligrams is not good. They're going to have to pull from the shelves. It's going to take some time in California, but that's what our competitors are looking at. Sales model. We make money in 3 ways. One is selling to cannabis dispensaries, regular cannabis outlets. Second, we have a direct-to-consumer subscription model. You buy a case, we deliver it to your home on a 4-week basis. It only takes 1,000 of those people in California to reach $1 million in revenue. The third is mainstream beverage. Our distributor is handling not only THC sales in California, but what they call Texas West, which is beverage distribution from Texas all the way to California, the whole western half of the country. We're going into that market with a CBD product in January. So we're hitting the mainstream at the same time we hit the cannabis market. Traction. What have we accomplished in our 4 months in business? Over a dozen press write-ups, 3 percentage point increase in gross margins, doubling of our wholesale accounts, a 5-fold increase in consumer sales, a new look, a new website, more automation, a pipeline of new products and flavors, and a Texas West distribution agreement that allows us to access, on top of everything, standard beverage markets everywhere west of Texas. All right. My complete presentation is not synced to this deck, so Mountjoy in the news. When thought leaders talk about cannabis today, they talk about microdosing. This is levels of consumption that provide social and health benefits and solve age-old human problems in healthy, responsible ways. Mountjoy is at the forefront of this wave. Competitive risks. I'm not going to talk about this slide. I'm going to talk about larger beverage companies. We're ahead, and all we need to do to stay ahead, I've learned this from high tech, somebody, I don't know where I picked this up, but if you're ahead, to stay ahead, you iterate on your product continually and on your message, and why would anybody catch you? That's our solution to the market risk. Our expansion model, growth strategy. We're in California, and there are 1,500 dispensaries. Obviously, we blow those out at the same time in January. We hit the mainstream beverage market with a CBD product. Exit strategy. In 2003, a friend of mine worked for a design company that designed the can for new beverage. It was 2003, the dot-com bubble had burst, and the customer who contracted for that can didn't offer an alternative to the $50,000 design fee. They offered 5% of the company. The owner of the company, the design firm, had to think about it, of course. He was thinking the same thing you are. What is this product? What's the value of it? In their case, there was nothing in the can. It was just a can. They didn't have any product. They certainly didn't have any sales. And sad to say, he decided not to take the deal. That company was Monster. That 5% would have been worth $1.65 billion today. We expect to be acquired by a larger beverage company in 3 to 5 years. Our marketing plan and future are directly parallel mainstream beverage, craft brewers, and all right, another old slide. I'm Alex Mountjoy. I have 22 years experience in consumer goods space. I've built 4 factories. I've managed thousands of sales reps. I've launched hundreds of custom products for many, many major brands. I have done this before, and I'm doing it again. And for me, this is second nature. I started my career in physics, went on to computer programming, but for the most of my adult life, I've been doing consumer goods. We're seeking $502 million. We've raised $150 so far. We're going to use the money to fill orders. We have a major distribution agreement, and which is sending truckloads of CBD product to Texas and other places. We need to be able to do that, and we need to, as I said, continue to iterate on our product and iterate on our message so that we can stay ahead. A few photos. Interestingly, when you advertise alcohol, you can show one thing, and that's people having fun. When you advertise a Mountjoy Sparkling, you can show a lot more. It's a much more versatile product. And it's, of course, high-end, sports, reflection, work, achievement, and sociability. And this slide is a little video that says we're from Sonoma County. So thank you.
Thanks, Alex. And I was going to say, certainly for me, looking at both the product and the growth area in the market, I mean, if it was my money, I'd be convinced. But I'm not the panel, so I'm looking at the panel and just wondering what questions you would have for Alex to determine the success of his idea. Julia?
You're asking for 500,000. So what's your valuation pre-money? This was another issue in the previous presentation also. No valuation was written.
It's $5 million. It's a safe document, 20% discount, and $5 million cap.
What's your gross margins now and projected
55% at wholesale.
today?
Yes.
And what projected?
They'll only get larger. Our costs of goods are about the same as any standard sparkling water or bottled water. So you can imagine if for what other people could, standard beverage market companies can sell their products for, it's basically what we can sell it for as well.
Yeah, but you're at a $5 price point instead of, say, $1.50 price point for most sparkling water. So it seems like you'd be doing well.
Our production is minimal, but it's fairly automated. And as we scale up and do mainstream, then we use the equipment that they use.
So you have a new category product, and you do consumer products. So brand awareness is your worst problem, right? How do you build that efficiently with scale in this business?
Social media, and we're a consumer goods company. We've been appealing to directly consumers for 22 years. We fully understand that our role as the manufacturer is to do consumer outreach, and we follow the exact map that any major beverage brand does. Goyaki, Monster, you drive around, you give a lot of product away, you do exactly the same thing. We have to make nothing up. We know exactly what to do.
Sorry, I may have missed this. What were your sales this year?
We've been in business for real for 4 months, and our sales are a few thousand a month.
Okay, sorry. So I've built breweries and wineries from scratch to millions of dollars in revenue. The biggest issue is who's going to sell it for you? I mean,
we sell through
in your team, like specifically, who's going to convince the distributor, the retailer? Who is your superstar salesperson to?
I'm the salesperson. I've been doing sales all my life. I ran 50 Costco roadshow booths. I've got a lot of experience in sales and a lot of in-person experience in sales. I would train our whole sales force, and that's what I do.
I guess my question, outside of California, are you concerned about the regulatory risks?
Well, in order to sell in another state, we set up manufacturing or a co-packer in Colorado, for example, and it's a mechanism that's tried and true. We can't ship out of state, but we can certainly manufacture in other states.
Could you go over your distribution once again? How are you going to do the distribution?
Yes. We are in contract with a group that's coming from mainstream beverage. They've given up all of their liquor licenses because you can't distribute both liquor and cannabis, so they're getting cannabis licenses. So they bring to this project the sort of force that we need to move liquid product around. And they bring the contacts and the ability to sell outside of the cannabis space into mainstream beverage. They make it a reality for us. It's a close relationship. We're going to be operating out of their space. We're their dream line. We're a headliner.
So from what Alex has presented, the ask he's been putting, is this a reasonable and rational thing that you believe would pay off if you're going to invest in Mountjoy Sparkling? Who would invite Alex for that coffee after the discussion, or a glass of wine?
Or this, apparently.
Well, well, he's done a good job by putting the samples in place. Or what, if not, what would prevent you? What would you want to see to be convinced that this is an investment worth funding?
I would say there's zero doubt that there's money to be made in this area. New categories, there's going to be a lot of dead bodies around that. The question is how to make this one the difference from the other dead bodies. But there's zero doubt there's going to be money made in this area. I think everyone agrees on that. We would want to, the story needs to be tightened, right? And to figure out what allows this one to make it versus, clearly sodas continue to sell. However, it is a declining market in that area. I understand your value prop relative to sugar, right? But that would be the next step on it.
A differentiating factor for me is not very clear. There could be other comers, and you may not be able to really stand out.
Okay, and I'll leave Alex with the final word on that. How he would differentiate Mountjoy Sparkling.
Well, again, we're the only zero-calorie, normally dosed cannabis-infused sparkling water out there. We're the only people doing this, and so we're starting ahead. How do we preserve that lead? Of course, there'll be competition. It's a huge market. There's going to be a big winner. How do we assure that we are the big winner? Well, taking a step by partnering with a major distributor with a long history of success is critical.
Alex, thank you very much for the presentation on Mountjoy Sparkling, cannabis-infused sparkling water, and to both the panel and the guests for sticking around this evening. You've been both patient, appreciative, and hopefully taken something away with you that you can look forward to trying in the years to come. If you'd be kind enough to join, put your hands together and join me. I'll hand over to Lanny, and we'll close out the session.
So guess what? I have nothing to say, except thank you, all of you who sat all the way through. This has been a lot of fun. There is a lot of food and good wine for you right next door at the Overlook Restaurant, which is the high-end restaurant at Sonoma State. And we look forward to seeing you in the spring and possibly in San Francisco a little bit earlier. Thanks a lot.